In this chapter, I'm going to teach you guys something very interesting and very powerful about dates in Excel. Once you know how dates work in Excel, you can figure out a whole lot of problems that you might have for yourself, and also you can do a lot of interesting things with it. Now, in previous chapters, we talked a little bit about dates and date formats, but we never really got into how Excel understands dates, and that's a really powerful thing to know. I'm going to take this date and I'm going to copy it over here to this cell. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so you guys can see this up close. Now here I have a number formatted as a date, as you can see up here. But what happens if we convert this to a general number format? Watch what happens. I get the number 42,755, which would seem to make no sense, but if I change that to a date, I get the 20th of January 2017. And if I switch this to general, 42,755. In fact, I can do a formula to copy that value, and I can format this as a date and get the same information here and here. Now what this tells us is that this number is equivalent to this date in Excel. The number 42,755 is equivalent to the 20th of January 2017. So how exactly is that working? Well, it's working like this. Excel understands dates as numbers. It simply counts the number of days that your date is from January 1st, 1900. January 1st, 1900 is a value equivalent to 1 day. You see, day 1 is January 1st, 1900 in Excel. If I type day 2, it's January 2nd, 1900. Day 3, January 3rd, 1900. Day 4, January 4th, 1900, and so on and so on and so on. If we divide 42,655 by 365, which are the days in a year, we're going to get that roughly we have 116 years, 0.86 from January 1st, 1900, which is more or less 2017. 1900 plus 116.86 is more or less 2017. There's a difference here because of course we're not taking into account leap years and things like that, but give or take, it's the same thing. Okay, so that's how dates work in Excel. They're simply numbers that Excel counts starting from January 1st, 1900. What this means is that if I have a date, say the 15th of January 2017, and I add days to it, I'm going to get a future date. For example, January 15th, 2017 plus 5, which would mean plus 5 days, I get as a result January 20th, 2017. Now what happens if I add 5 days to this? As you might expect, January 25th, 2017. See where I'm going here? You can do addition and subtraction with dates in order to obtain different results. For example, you can start out at a date and say 6 months from now, which is 180 days, give or take, what date is it going to be? Or, for example, you can take and subtract 2 dates in order to get the days between them. Say, for example, that I want to know how many days left until Christmas, 25th of December 2017, and the 15th of January 2017. If I subtract this one from this one, I get there's 344 days left until Christmas. See, that's how dates work in Excel, and you can add and subtract them together. That's a really powerful function. Now, another interesting thing you can do is save yourself some time when creating dates. Say, for example, that you want to create dates for the first Monday of each week, starting, for example, April 3rd, 2017. 3rd of April, 2017. And I want to create headers for some kind of weekly reports or something. So I'm going to type dates here and some other value here. Now I could go on and start typing, the 10th of April 2017 and so on and so on and so on, and it would take me half an hour just to list the dates out. Or I could simply take this date and add 7 days to it and simply drag that formula down, and in a matter of a few seconds I have my full dates list for the Mondays that are coming up during the year. In fact, I could even do this and use a custom number format here like we saw in the previous chapter, and simply say the date. See, it's a Monday, and this one's going to be a Monday as well. And now I have a list of days and a list of the corresponding day names. And this is all formula driven, which means that if I update this to the 4th of April, all the rest of the values are going to update automatically. See, this is the real powerful thing in Excel about using numbers to represent dates, that you can add and subtract them as you wish in order to obtain differences in days or to see what date it's going to be within a certain number of days. So that's interesting things that you can do with dates in Excel. Now there's another thing that you might want to know, especially if you work historical data, things like that, you should really take into account. Now if you remember what we did up here, when we put this in general number format, we saw that each date has a corresponding number, and we saw that day 1 in Excel is the 1st of January 1900, like we see here. Okay, what happens if I need a date before 1900? Well, you should know that Excel doesn't support dates before 1900. Anything before the 1st of January of 1900 is going to generate an error, or it's simply going to be interpreted by Excel as text. For example, if I say the 1st of January of 1566, see, I get a text value right here. Excel doesn't understand this date. Unfortunately, there's no negative numbers in Excel for date handling. So I can't just say that I want day number 1. If I say day number 1, I'm going to get all these pound signs, which means that I have an error in my date and that Excel can't convert this to a date. See, it's a number, it's a -1, and Excel understands that it's a -1. But when I tell Excel, give me the corresponding date, well, Excel says there's no such thing. And that's why I get all these symbols. So you need to be careful if you're working dates before the 1st of January 1900, because you're going to get an error. You're going to either have to handle them as text or find a way around the problem. I don't know, maybe create some kind of a conversion formula or something of the sort that you might use to represent these dates. Or keep them as text, which is usually the easiest solution to working dates before 1900 in Excel. Thanks for watching this video tutorial. If you liked the video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and to visit our website, cubicleoverlords.com, for more instructional videos like this one.